We're Arctic Monkeys. This is Don't Believe the Hype.
That rock and roll, eh? Ladies! That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question. Cheers, dude.
That man just yawned.
We're gonna call it,
Don't Believe the Hype.
Hello and welcome to a very Merry Christmas episode of Don't Believe the Hype. Unfortunately, before we get into the festivities, I must inform you that Nick isn't here.
Still got pictures of friends on the wall. I suppose we aren't really friends anymore. Maybe I shouldn't ever call that thing friendly at all.
No, I'm only kidding. It's due to a personal situation and we wish him all the best. However, wait, what's that?
Get freaked out from a knock at the door when I haven't been expecting one.
Well, I am expecting one because we have two special guests joining me today. It's Matt Helders and no, it's not. It's just two regular contributors and Arctic Monkeys mega fans. Which band members would be the most believable for that, by the way? I'm going to say Jamie and Nick, and that is the correct answer. Well, my first guest is a Matt H, just not that Matt H. It's Arctic Monkeys super fan and regular contributor to the show, Matthew Higgins. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, Dan.
How are you?
I'm very well. Got slightly nervous coming on then. I was fine all the way up to it, and then I was like, oh, I need a beer. But yeah, I'm good.
It is
Nice beer.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Matthew. And I'm going to do an Alex and overuse the word Matthew the whole way through this, by the way, just because it's a great opportunity to do so, Matthew. And my second guest is the man who puts the chilling in the Straight Chilling Horror Movies Review podcast. Check it out. It's very good. Yes, I didn't lead that with the word straight and make some joke that would have been at home in the 1970s. It's friend of the show, Justin Toole. Hello, Justin.
Hello, Dan and Matt. Merry Christmas. Thanks for having me on.
No problem at all. And what's that? I suppose that isn't a British accent that they can hear.
Yes.
Like
the token American on the show now. Am I going to be like you can put me on the show? Oh, we got an American here.
Well, as we head into the humbug phase of the show, just like the band, we've gone all American and brought you in.
Yeah, you should have introduced me as Justin T, and we could have pretend like I was some obscure, cousin of Alex Turner. Oh yeah, maybe it's Turner. Maybe.
If you think that the obsessives that listen to this podcast, that actually listen to this podcast, wouldn't already know that wasn't true, then I don't know what to say.
Fair enough.
They would know. But yeah, no. So, I'm going to ask you both to give us some brief information about yourselves, but that feels like it falls into one of our usual sections of the show.
The information action ratio is the place to go.
Okay, Matt, tell us a bit about your relationship with the band.
I think probably similar to you and Nick, actually. I think we're about similar ages. So I can remember
29.
just after Dance Floor came out about 2005, wasn't it? Probably about this time, actually. Watching on some quiz show. I never liked them at first. I didn't like the song at all. Grew on me. Can you kick me out now, actually?
Yeah, get out now.
And I've just been obsessed with them all the way through. I think every new album has changed the style. They've always seemed to be, as I've got older, my music's changed, and theirs has always seemed to follow suit. So,
yeah. It's strange that, isn't it? I always used to think that, like I remember when Tranquility came out, and everyone around me, the place I worked, loved the fact that it was being panned. And they loved it because they knew how much I loved them. So everyone was just walking past me, coming up to my desk going, new album's shit, innit? And I'd be like, no, I liked it. But like, people would say, you only like it because you love them and they could put anything out and you'll like it. And I was like, no, it's just weird that whenever they do something, I seem to like it. It's just a coincidence. I can't explain why.
Well, I got the same thing. I remember I was trying to talk to one of my mates. We'd been to see him a few times, been to London. I think about 3 times we saw him, and he couldn't stand it. And I said, you need to keep listening. I said, it's grower, just keep at it with it. He went, oh, you've listened too much. You're making yourself like it. I was like, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that is funny when people say that, because that is how music works. And some albums take time and they grow on you as you listen to them. So, and they're usually the better albums. But Justin, would you like to give us a bit of your brief history of your relationship with the band, which is a unique perspective, I fear, on this show?
Yeah, it's actually somewhat similar in a weird kind of way, because I remember it was at a high school graduation party for my buddy, and his cousin had come into town, and she lived in London, I think, at the time. And she had brought him the first CD, and she was like, hey, you need to check this out. This band's really blowing up in the UK. And so that's soundtrack of the first album was our soundtrack going into like university, going to parties, like getting drunk and everything like that. So it was very kind of appropriate, even though it wasn't the clubs of England and things like that. It still kind of fit the vibe, and I've just followed them ever since. Seen them a few times live here in the States, and just loved them ever since like that first listen. I remember we were heading out to like a university party, and threw that CD on. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And loved them ever since.
Where in America do you hail from?
So I am from Florida, and that's where we went to university and everything like that. But for the past several years, I've actually been living in South Korea. So kind of a weird thing going on there.
No, but that I think you're gonna have a good perspective on certain things that you that we haven't had before, so that's pretty cool. You'll perhaps maybe you will be the go-to as we go into Get More America. Maybe there'll be even references. We'll have to bring you in like the expert.
I think there was one recently and I was like, hey, this is an American thing.
I remember for years I thought in this is crazy, but in Hellcat Spangled Shalala, he says mysticism, doesn't he? He says that's mysticism. Now for years I didn't know that he said mysticism. The word just didn't register. I thought he said mysticisms, and I like as in like Mr. Scissors or something like that. And I thought that was like an American toy or an American chocolate or something like that. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll learn what that is one day. But no, I was just being a stupid idiot. But okay, well, then tell us, guys. Matt, what is your favorite Arctic Monkeys album?
Tranquility Base, Hotel and Casino. Only recently, I think, past year, but it's just it's always my go-to album now. I don't know if that's through all the playing the old ones, like AM obviously and Debut, Humbug obviously, but it's Tranquility. It's so unique.
It's a good point you make, because sometimes I find it really hard to like crack on the vinyl if I'm sat doing something. A favorite worst nightmare. If I'm not drinking or something, if I'm just working or something, I can't put favorite worst nightmare. Whatever people say, Tranquility is with a go-to one. It seems for that kind of situation. And that, like you say, might be because we listen to it so much, but it might just also be that I associate those albums with drinking and party, and maybe I don't know, but maybe it's. Being younger, probably, and but without going, even though that we still love those albums, there is obviously a certain bit more depth. So like Tranquility, so maybe that also rewards re-listens.
I think so.
Yeah. But what, Justin, is your favorite album?
So mine, and I'm going to have to do some defense tonight, especially after, y'all just covered this era, but favorite worst nightmare is mine. I love all of them, but I think there is a lot of nostalgia that goes into why I like favorite worst nightmare. For a long time, it danced between the first 2 albums, but I love the emotional depth that favorite worst nightmare offers compared to the first album. And as we'll see a lot tonight, I'll make a lot of references, but the dark sound like leading into humbug as especially like the second half of the album really resonates with me, and a lot of the B-side sounds and stuff like that. I don't know, there's something about that sound that I just really like. And so yeah, that's why it always lands for me for my favorite.
And I think it's weird because I do absolutely love Fate Worst Nightmare, and I remember at the time I was obsessed with it. And as you've listened on the podcast as it's gone on, we've become less enthralled of it, but not really. Over time that'll come back. It's probably sometimes when you cover things, it changes the way that you view them because you're talking about them so much, perhaps. But I think what's funny about it is the things that annoy about it is that, like, take This House as a Circus, for example, Old Yellow Brick, one that we really took against Old Yellow Bricks because we thought the lyrics were about Andy and we found out they weren't. And I was the same with This House as a Circus. They kind of just said, no, it is about a party. And I'd always thought it was a metaphor for fame. So I'd made it cleverer than it was. And I think then finding out that it wasn't, I'd set my own. But that's not the band's fault. That's for me trying to make it smarter than it is. And I still think This House as a Circus, he doesn't want to say it, but it is about fame. Well,
I was curious, honestly, as you're heading into the humbug era and the lyrics get more obscure, I was wondering if that same kind of thing could be happening with you in the future, of where you'll do a deep dive into something and be like, so I'm like, okay, I'm giving a little grace toward Favorite Worst Nightmare. I'm like, maybe they'll come back around to it. It'll be okay.
I think with ego mechanics and stuff we'll be safe. But I think but no, it's funny. But I do know I still love This House of Circus as a song. It's an absolute banger of a tune, and we still had that. I think I still had that as like my second favorite on the album, or third favorite after If You Were There Beware. And I still think If You Were There Beware is a tune that should be in the set now. Like, if I could pick any song, it's an absolute. Why they abandoned that when they're doing like fast heavy sets and that, I don't know. But so there's still plenty of love for favorite Worst Nightmare in this parish, this church of Arctic Monkeys. But I'm going to ask you what your favorite songs are next. So Matt, what's your favorite song, and if there'll actually be songs off your albums, favorite albums, because Nick's favorite, for example, Nick's favorite album is whatever people say, and that's what I'm not, but his favorite song is off Humbug. So it can be different. Mine isn't, but
so mine, I had to think about this because I think you've got a tendency to go with the most well known, haven't you, or well loved, just sometimes through repetition of hearing them all the time, and usually they are the best songs, not always, but sometimes. But I think for my favorite one for a long time was Hellcat. For years and years, I always loved it.
Heart, I can see.
It's pop perfection, like most of that album, but it changed to Fireside. But I think again, the past year or something, I'd say Bat Phone. It's just completely unique as a sound. It reminds me of some
interesting.
I don't know, some 70s artist, 80s artist. I can't think quite put down what it reminds me of, but it's just I don't think I've heard a song like it before. It might come back to me on this, but it's just an unbelievable song. I think it's probably his best vocal performance as well.
Yeah, I think Nick would agree. If Nick was here, if you're listed, Nick, which you will be, then he would agree because he's always banging the Bat Phone drum. I think he's always saying it. So, but no, I agree as well. And I think Bat Phone's got some of my favorite lyrics in it as well.
Yeah.
Does Bat Phone have the integrity line? Is that in Bat Phone or is that in Science Fiction? I always get them mixed up.
No,
that's one of my favorite lines. Yeah, I bought a fragrance called Integrity.
I've still no idea what it's about. Every time I try and listen to the lyrics again.
Tune in to Don't Believe the Hype in 2027 to find out. Oh dear. I do have a kind of idea on that, what that's about a little bit, but it comes and goes. I mean, as ever, I think it's a weird one with Tranquility as well. When we come to cover that, I think I might have said before that there's a lot of personal stuff I put into it that definitely isn't there. But it seemed again that Alex was writing stuff that was going on in my personal life, like similar. I remember at the time, like just to give a snippet of that, I was feeling very. I was going out all the time with a group of people, and we were just partying constantly all the time out in bars. And I was really getting a bit like, you know, when you just get sick of it, and you're like, I want my life to change. I don't just want to be out all the time. And Alex wrote a line that was like, I feel like I'm just stood around in bars talking shite. And I was like, why does this man in my brain? How does he do this? And maybe it's just because he's a similar age, and maybe we were all thinking that at that point. I don't know, but yeah. So no, that's a Batphone's a great song. And also, you said your favorite for a long time was
Hellcat.
Yeah, that I was, as you know, Suck It and See, love it. Yeah, Pop Perfection. I'm determined to get Suck It and See more appreciated because I feel like it's underappreciated by the fans, and it is. Smiths, Pixies, Stone Roses, Pop Perfection. But so Justin, what is your favorite song? And Last Nightman?
This one is really tough. I tend to like always gravitate towards the ending songs. I feel like they always wrap up an album in an amazing way, always like emotionally resonant and things like that. And so I really love, you know, like That's Where You're Wrong, you know, 505. But if I'm being honest, like when it all comes back to it, I will like A Certain Romance is hard to just let go of. It's an amazing song. It's an amazing arrangement, and it's also just has the nostalgic resonance of being young. Like it'll put me back in that moment anytime I listen to it. And so I mean, there's like they have so many amazing songs, but I just can't like put anything over A Certain Romance, I think.
Yeah. No, look, when we did the World Cup of songs, when we did that, which was one of the worst things I've ever had to do, because I realized how much of a pain it was every day, and how annoyed people get on the internet by like things like the parents of the slight. They were like, these songs are too hard to be together at this stage in the thing. I was like, I'm sorry, this is the way it's worked out. But then Certain Romance won that, and I think justly so, because there was a point where it looked like something crazy was going to win it. I can't remember what it was now, but it was something that really would annoyed people, I think. And I was like, oh God, I hope this doesn't happen. And I think when we do the wrap up, and we were pitting the songs from both albums against each other, and we obviously there's more songs on whatever people say, and we just said, well, let's just lose A Certain Romance because it wins anyway. Whatever we put it up against our favorite Worst Nightmare, it automatically wins. So we'll just get rid of that. And you know, whenever I say what song would you want them to bring back live now, I always have to go, okay, parking A Certain Romance aside, the song would be, because it's just to take it as read that that's the song that I want to hear live again. So yeah, it is a. There's a strong argument, I think I could be persuaded, that it is still the best song they've ever done. And there's a strong argument for that. You know, it's not necessarily the song I want to listen to, but you could make that case, I think.
It's definitely one of the songs. I mean, there's a few for sure, but it's definitely one of the songs where if anyone ever said like that's the best Arctic Monkey song, I would never think to argue again, or you know, I wouldn't have a strong argument against if I was pitted on the other side. It's like that's probably it.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I'm not going to argue with you. But no, and it did give me one of my greatest moments in a nightclub ever, when me and my mates were in about, I don't know, you've probably been to 42's, Matt, 46th Street in Manchester. Two bars opposite the room to each other, and I was at one and he was at the other, dance floor in the middle. The drums started, and I just dropped what I was doing, left the drinks, and just ran to the dance floor. He did the same thing, and we just met in the middle, and like, and like we could have kissed, and it would have felt quite natural in that moment, I think, as well. So no questions would have been asked, I think, afterwards. But yeah, right. I'm going to ask you what your favorite lyrics are, but before that, it resonates with a section that we normally have.
Too busy with the mind on clever lines.
Let's mix it up a bit. Justin, what is your favorite lyric?
Again, this was super, super, super tough, but I ultimately ended up going with these lines. And do you look into the mirror to remind yourself you're there, or have somebody's goodnight kisses got that covered? When I'm not being honest, I pretend that you are just some lover.
You're breaking my heart, Justin. You know, Suck It and See. Both of you bringing Suck It and See's into it. I mean, I think on the first episode of this, I said my favorite lyrics because we just started the pod, and I was like, what am I going to say? And I think I just said, she's got Helter Skelter around her little finger, and I think I said the fragrance integrity line from Batphone. But there's so many on Tuck It and See, and that one, absolutely incredible. And that's probably my second favorite song on Tuck It and See as well. And I've got an interesting take on that when we come to it. I can't wait to cover Suck It and See. Honestly, it's all just it's all my chickens coming home to roost, I think. But yeah, it's a great choice, a fantastic choice. I always love the line in Suck It and See. Jigsaw women with horror movie shoes, which I won't say what my interpretation of that line is because I don't know if it's a known thing or not, so I'll save it. But yeah, I think I get it. But
some of his best lyrics on Suck It and See for sure.
Yeah, I think that's why I love it, because it was kind of back to, I think Humbug is really good lyrics, but cryptically, Suck It and See was kind of as open as the first two, but also really up another level of in smart the way he writes. So it was an interesting album, especially leading into AM as well. But yeah, so absolutely fantastic choice. See what Matt's going to bring to the table then.
Do you know, when I was looking through it this weekend, and I almost went for that Reckless Serenade. That lyric special, it's fantastic. And I agree as well. Suck It and See is by far his best lyrical album. All lyrics choices, and Humbug, I think, leading into it. What's mine? I've gone for a strange one actually, but it's one that's always stuck with me. It's off Humbug. I'm going to read it to make sure I've got it right now. It's my favorite.
I'm rubbish at remembering them off the cuff. I always have to go, Nick, what is it? You probably know. Nick, what is it?
Well, the
somebody doesn't edit out.
So I've gone off Portion Approaching, and it's if I could be someone else for a week, I'd spend it chasing after you.
Oh, it's a good one.
It just says so much, doesn't it? As a few lines
that is,
it's unbelievable.
Those types of lines are the ones that sum up these are the ones that I'm drunk, boring people about. Where I'm going, this is why it's brilliant, because I'm like cornering people at parties, going, because a normal songwriter would just say like, you're always on my mind or something like that, or I chase you constantly. But he takes it and he twists it and he says something. Basically, if I was somebody else, even if I was somebody else, I'd still spend my time chasing after you. It's like, whoa, Alex, come on now. Come on now, Alex.
Everything I could change about myself, or if I could be anybody else, it's like I'd still end up
at your door.
Incredible.
Yeah. I mean, this is the brilliance of the man. It's like he says a line, and I could write like a university thesis on it. I think sometimes, but it would all just be nonsense. But
I think that's one of his lines that I feel like no matter who listened to it, it will resonate with them. Like like anybody could hear that, and it would resonate in some kind of way. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's in a song. Is it Push Approaching, isn't it? Yeah. So it would be in a song that is full of like cryptic ones that you kind of have to kind of think about as well, and then he just throws in something that people get just like that. And obviously we're going to be covering that soon, so I'm very excited about that. I think that'll be 5 weeks in, won't it? So interesting stuff. But we've got to get past the dirtiness that is My Propeller before we get to that. The dirty bugger. Okay, so favorite musical moment. Now, another tough one, but maybe it's the first time that we'll mention another band member and not Alex. So Justin, what's your favorite musical moment?
So I had to kind of bite my tongue earlier for the musical moment. I put the whole bat phone arrangement just away. I mean, it's just musically it's fantastic. If I had to pin it down to one specific moment in that song, it would be the kind of like wah 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 part or whatever. But I mean, just the whole arrangement is amazing. That song is fantastic musically. Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
It doesn't seem to end, does it? You think it's sort of ending and it comes back in again.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting.
Instrumentation on that is like all the things that are going on and like weaving. It's kind of almost a throwback to something like View from the Afternoon, where things are playing off of each other, but in a much more intricate way. So
I mean, when I was doing the preparing for something that we're going to be doing imminently, I was sort of reading some stuff about Tranquility, and I remember the sort of quote that they had them all in the room at the studio, and they would kind of replay the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds recording vibe, and it just got chills thinking about them all being in the room recording like Bat Phone or something. It's like, but absolutely outstanding choice. What an album! What a tune, Matt. What have you gone for?
I can't beat what Justin said, to be honest. It wasn't even the one I thought of, which to say that I'd already chosen my favorite song, it didn't even come to my head. But I think you're right, honestly. I think I was going to say, and I don't know what the right terminologies for this. And it's so I got a few examples like guitar solo of 1 point perspective. I think that's just a superb moment. And again, I don't know what they call it in number one party anthem when it comes back in.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It goes to one guitar. Yeah. Kind of breakdown / chorus type it is.
Yeah,
weird, isn't it?
Yeah, just before the final chorus, I think it is. And I think maybe the last jam, I guess, of That's Where You're Wrong. I think again, just amazing. But I think I've got to go with Bat Phone now. I've got to change my mind. What Justin said. You just reminded me as well when it's that what is that noise? That do that comes on in Bat Phone.
They have there's a harpsichord in there. I think they have a theremin in there. The whirly kind of sounds. Yeah, it's all kind of crazy stuff. I don't know.
I mean, there's so many like even just individual moments on all the albums, isn't there? That you could be here all day going. Even something that's more commercial. You go, wow, when you first heard the War Pigs guitar in Arabella come in for the first time when you had that track, and it's like, whoa, what's going on here? But you know what? The solo in Ultra Cheese is a pretty special moment as well. That's a nice one, not performed by Jamie, and everyone jump on that. Oh, see, Jamie's shit. He doesn't even perform his guitar solos. But no, I think though, I now say in my head now, it's if there was a live musical moment, it's definitely the Body Paint. Did we all see them on the last tour? Did we all catch them? I think we did.
Yeah, I didn't get to see them live.
Did you not? Oh, well, when you do, and if they'll still be doing the Body Paint thing then, because they're definitely not done with it. It'll probably be about 20 minutes longer at that point as well. But yeah, that live is something. I think that's the best. That's the best performance I've ever seen them give. That extended Body Paint live. It's absolutely.
Did you ever
insane.
See, I don't know if both of you have read this one point that just before they brought out the car, Alex was trying to write a song to finish the live sets with, and I don't know if it was ever proven which song it was or whether this is anything to do with Body Paint, but I've always thought it was. If you think, especially with the live, it just changes so much with the outro, doesn't it?
It does make
builds
sense.
That crescendo, and I wonder if it was that song they referred to a lot.
Yeah, and you know what? When we did the car retrospective, it's weird because the way the songs are, like normally I'm loath to put single releases as for my favorite songs on the album, but the car was kind of like Body Paint, Mirrorball kind of have to be my favorites. I think as standard. On what you said about funny because you said about Bat Phone being, you think it's done and it's not. And you said, Justin, that they always do great last songs. I say they do, but I've always had a bit of a feeling that I want to be yours to be about 2 minutes longer or 1 minute longer or something, have another refrain. And the same for Perfect Sense. I want Perfect Sense to just have one more something else in it. Like I feel like Wanna Be Yours is crying out for a guitar solo and then big end that doesn't come. And that's probably, better to leave people wanting more than when Switch Off, like some Manchester bands I could mention that go on for about 25 minutes with the solos. But say who. But so great moment. But we'll move on to the next part of this Christmas podcast, which before we do our little thing we've got coming up, which is going to be very fun for me. I'm going to just ask you both, if there was a Band-Aid 2024 next Christmas and you hear that, I mean, it wouldn't bloody happen, would it? Let's be honest. But the Arctic Monkeys are involved in it. Bono has somehow talked them into it. They're coming along. That they're in the actual studio with them. They're not in another studio recording like Radiohead did, so they didn't have to actually be involved away from everyone. But they're actually there, and Alex is going to sing one line from the song Band-Aid. What line would you want it to be, Matt?
Oh, I couldn't decide with this. I've been thinking about it, and I was trying to think of a funny answer or
Dizzy's rap. Dizzy Rascal's rap.
I feel like he'd ask elders to do it. Like Kurt Cobain did that time on Top of the Pops.
Yes.
Oh no, sorry, not Kurt Cobain. I'm thinking of when Liam and Noel switched places to sing. I feel like he'd do something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe not in
the
song. Actually,
do it. I mean, it's completely out of the realms of possibility that they would ever do this. I mean, do you remember when they turned down? There was a huge gig for climate change gig, and they turned it down, pointing out that surely a huge, massive gig with lights and electricity is not a good way to raise awareness for climate change and refuse to do it. So I can't see them doing Band-Aid and all its hypocrisies. But, on the off chance, I think, were you able to pick one, Justin?
So I picked one from the old one, like if you wanted Alex to sing this like from the old line, and I'm so to be honest,
same as mine, I think.
I'm not too familiar with this song. Like I know it, but I had to kind of like I had to like go and like look into it and stuff. But the line, so from the old one I picked, and the Christmas bells that ring, there are the clanging chimes of doom. Well, tonight, thank God, it's them instead of you. I was like, what the fuck? It was so funny. Yeah. I just thought it would be hilarious for Alex to do this line.
I mean, see another podcast that me and Nick do this week to hear my issues on that particular line. But I also went with that because what you won't know is the reason I picked it is because that's Bono's bit in the song. And Bono goes, well, tonight, thank God it's them instead of you, in classic Bono. So I thought the thought of Alex doing that would be amazing. So I went with that one. And, the drums would be better at least in the song. So there is that if all this turns out. Yeah, and the bass and the guitar. All of it would be better. Yeah. But thank God, thank God, it's not them that are doing Band-Aid, to be honest. Leave it to Sharon and his ilk. They'll do one. So now we're having a little, it wouldn't be Christmas without a Christmas special of a quiz show on British television or American. Do they do that on American television? Do you have like Christmas specials of quiz shows at Christmas?
Probably.
I feel like the Christmas special is a very English thing they have the American Office has Christmas episodes, doesn't it? You have Christmas episodes, we have Christmas specials. Like if you put them in America, you seem to time the airing. You put them when the series is airing anyway, and it'll just be a Christmas episode, Christmas week. In England, even if the show's not been on for a year, they'll just do a Christmas special of the show. So it's a bit different. Okay. But yeah, everyone listening will know. There's a quiz show in the UK called Mastermind, where you pick a specialist subject and you get 2 minutes to answer the question. And obviously, we know that the two guys' eras are Tranquility and Favorite Worst Nightmare, so that's their specialist subject. So the rules are questions. You'll do insanely well to get 35 questions, but I've got 35 questions, and we will rapid fire through them. The person with the most at the end wins, the most right, and you can say pass if you don't know, and I'll move quickly on to the next one, and we'll go back and give the answers at the end. And that's kind of pretty much it. I think we'll stop that. That is annoying. I'm going to stop that. That is annoying. I've decided that is annoying. It's a post job. We'll go rapid fire through them. We'll do it. We'll go through the ones as well that we don't get to. Maybe we'll put them out to everyone at the very end. And maybe if there's a gap in points, you can make them up and try and win. That'll be very, very exciting. And so I'm going to just get me timer. Should we say who wants to start? Should we start with you, Matt? Let's start with you, Matt. Let's do Tranquility first. Okay, so I have I'd say the first three are fairly easy. So
no pressure.
No pressure. But the first three are just there to kind of get you into it. In fact, although one of them that I put that was really easy for one of the first questions, you got wrong about 15 minutes ago. So at least now you know the answer to it. So it's a good job that happened. Okay, now I'm thinking because I was like, I bet he knows loads. So I tried to come up with some really hard ones, but now I feel like I made it too hard now. We'll see. You can always pass. But no, I'll be fair. If I say I'm going to say complete the lyric for some of them, and then I'll read the first bit, and then you just say the next bit. Even if you don't get the whole way I've written, as long as you say some of it, I'll know that you got it right. I'll give it you. Don't worry, I won't be too strict. There is a famous line when it gets to the last 2 minutes. This is a famous moment from Mastermind Justin, where whenever the host is reading a question and the buzzer goes for the end of the time, he doesn't just stop. He goes, I've started, so I'll finish. And then he reads the rest of the question, and they can still have another chat. They can still answer that one. So,
all right.
I can't remember the guy's name. I think he's dead now, but someone else hosts it now. But I can't remember his name. The guy that hosted it.
No, I can't.
I can't know. Oh well, that's his legacy in the bin, obviously. Yeah. For him. But so we'll start with you. Okay, are you ready?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, ready? But yeah, hang on. Feels like just as much pressure reading them. I don't want you to be like, I lost because you didn't read them well enough. But okay, right, we'll start. Okay. I'm just reading some of them and thinking, wow, I went too far. Okay, right. We'll start now. Complete the lyric. I just wanted to be one of the Strokes.
And now look at the mess you've made me make.
How many tracks are on the album?
11.
Correct. Who co-produced the album with Alex?
James Ford.
Correct. Alex Turner began writing the album on which specific instrument?
Piano.
Yeah, I'll give you that. He received this as a birthday gift. How old was he?
30.
Correct. Musician Tom Rowley guested on the album. Which band was he originally a member of?
Oh, pass.
Complete the lyric. Trust the politics to come along.
When you're just trying to get along?
Oh,
No.
Sorry.
No.
Close. What is the duration of the album? I'll accept a minute's allowance.
38?
No. The album was another consecutive number one album for the band. How many had there been before this? How many number one
5?
albums had they had?
5?
Yeah, correct. Zach Dawes and which other Mini Mansions member guest?
Don't know. Pass.
Complete the lyric. Reflections in the silver screen of...
Pass.
Where in France was the album partly recorded?
Oh, Lafrette?
Studios. Correct. What is the longest song on the album?
Oh, is it 4 out of 5? No, Start Treatment.
I'll give it you correct. What is the
Yeah.
shortest?
Golden Trunks?
No. Cam Avery of which band contributed backing vocals on She Looks Like Fun?
Pass.
Complete the lyric. When true love takes a grip.
It leaves
I've
you.
started, so I'll finish. Go on.
Is it? I'll leave you with. Say it again, Dan. If you
When true love, yeah, go on. Complete the lyric. When true love takes a grip.
It leaves you without a choice.
Correct. Okay, so I should have asked you, Justin, to count up how many you got right. I just realized, but we'll go for it. But to be
Or
honest,
at least run the timer, yeah.
yeah. We got you got to 16, so I definitely over-egged the pudding with 35, didn't I? But we got a lot of questions to go through at the end. But okay, so you got the first one right. Now look at the mess you made me make. Second one, 11, you got right. James Ford, you got right. I'll give you a piano. I did say specific, but then I realized that it was too hard. It's a Steinway Vertigrand piano, but I'll give you
wow.
Yeah.
So that's 4 you got right. 30 you got right of his age. Tom Rowley is from Milburn.
I knew it was a Sheffield band. Yeah.
Complete the lyric. Trust the politics to come along. It's when you were just trying to orbit the sun. You got 5, yeah. What is so you're on 5? What is the duration of the album? You said 38 minutes. It's 40 minutes and 57 seconds. So I couldn't give you that, unfortunately. The album was another. You got 5 for that, so you're on 6. Tyler Parkford is the other member of Mini Mansions that guested on the album. You got Strange Society, so that's 7. Oh, did you get that actually?
No.
Reflections in the silver screen of Strange Societies. I think it's in science fiction. I think Reflections in the silver screen of Strange Societies. You got Lafrette, so that's 8. Star Treatment you got, so that's 9. It's American Sports that is the shortest song on the album. Does anyone know? Do you know what band Cam Avery's from? I thought no, he is from Tame Impala.
Oh.
Yeah. And when true love takes grip, it leaves you without a choice. So you got that. So that's 10. So you got 10. So there you go. 10, respectable 10. Yeah. I mean, I'd be awful at this, by the way, because any kind of pressure in my mind just goes blank. So,
yeah.
So there's still, but at the end we'll do them and we'll do a kind of a round where you can both, whoever answers first gets it right and picks some points there. So for both albums. So we'll move on to favorite worst nightmare, Justin. Ooh. You know what? There's a comedy show in the UK called The League of Gentlemen, and there's a German predatory gay character called Alice Clark. And every time I say Justin, he always goes, "Oh, Justin!" And every time I say it, I just can't stop thinking about it.
Say you was just in time, Justin.
Yeah, just in time, Justin. But yes, okay. Are you ready?
Yep.
Are you ready? Okay. Well, here we go. Favorite worst nightmare. We will start now. Complete the lyric. You used to get it in your fishnets.
Now you only get it in your nightdress.
Correct. How many tracks does the album have?
12.
Correct. Who produced the album?
James Ford.
Correct. Who produced it with him?
Mike Crossy.
Correct. It was partly recorded at Motor Museum in which English city?
Manchester.
No. Complete the lyric. We require your grief. The thugs help the thieves.
Pass.
Miles Kane guests on 505. What band was he the frontman of at the time?
The Little Flames.
I'm going to give it you, actually. That's good knowledge. Correct. What is the duration of the album? I'll accept within a minute.
36.
Correct. How many single releases did the album have?
3.
Correct. How many B-sides did the era have?
11.
Correct. Complete the lyric. To start to break in half.
Start to break. Hold on to your hearts.
We'll talk about it at the end. What alternate name was considered for the album? I'll accept any of them. Any alternate
Lesbian Wednesdays.
That's correct. What is the longest song on the album?
If You Were There, Beware.
Correct. And what is the shortest?
D is for Dangerous.
Correct. What date was the album released?
2007, April 1st.
Yeah,
oh, really?
Yeah. Complete the lyric. And I bet she told 1 million people that she'd stay in touch.
And all the little promises that don't mean much.
Correct. Which film director took the helm for the Teddy Picker video?
Oh, Teddy Picker. Oh, is it Richard Ayu something?
No.
Okay.
No. Docked in Tempestuous Bays is said in which... I've started, so I'll finish. So that's the end. But Docked in Tempestuous Bays is said in which song?
Tempestuous Bays. Do Me a Favor?
No. Okay, let's go through them. So you did pretty well there. That was question. That was question 18. So you got to 18. So that's pretty good. So you got the first one, the first adolescent lyric. You got 12. James Ford. You got Mike Crossy, and I'm claiming
because
you were listening to the podcast. Yeah,
for sure.
Motor Museum, which you passed on. Sorry, you said Manchester, didn't you? It's in Liverpool. So,
okay.
Don't get the two confused. One's full of terrible people like Miles, and one's full of good people like us. But no, I love them really. So you said, okay, so we'll debate whether to give you this. So we said we require your grief that folks help the thieves, and you said to rob the words from a gob. But it does say as they're trying.
I skipped that one, didn't I?
Oh, did you get that? Sorry. Oh, you did. Sorry. Yeah, I'm thinking of a different one. Yeah, sorry. It's we require your grief that folks help the thieves as they're trying to rob the words from her gob. You're on 4 at the moment. It's from If You Were There, Everywhere, obviously. You said, okay, so I asked what band was the frontman of at the time. Now, he was the frontman of the Rascals at the time, but I did think to myself before, if he says Little Flames, I'll give it him, because as an American in particular, to know the Little Flames is pretty like insane, because there's very few.
Well, I listened to the Little Flames, but not the Rascals.
Yeah, well, that's because the Rascals aren't on Spotify.
That's right. Anywhere. Yeah. You can't listen to it. Yeah.
So I'm going to give you that one. I think that's fair. So you're on 5. Duration of the album, 37. Good. It's 37, 18 seconds.
Oh, okay.
And I think you said 36. So I thought, within a minute. So pretty much. 3 single releases, you got that right. B-sides 11. I can't believe you got that one so quick as well. That's insane.
I listen to those things all the time.
I thought he's not going to know this one. And I thought it's going to get. I thought when I wrote it, I thought it's going to get murky, that one, because it's going to be like, is Bad Woman a B-side or is it a cover? And people are going to go nuts. But we have that rule that if it's actual release, it's a B-side. That's kind of the podcast rule, I
I
guess.
actually, like, counting them up in my mind, almost skipped the Matador Dufresne release. So I almost said 9. I was like, nope, there's 2 more.
Yeah, that was something I thought as well, because I thought, is it classed as a single release or is it B-sides? Yeah, it's a weird one. Okay, so you said, this is the one that we'll let Matt decide whether he's gonna be nice enough to give it you or not. But it's to start to break in half. You said hold on to your heart, but it's to start to fall apart. Hold on to your heart. So you got part of it. What do you reckon, Matt? Is that did he miss too much?
Well, he's easily beaten me, so I'm going to say no. No, I'm joking. I think you'll be
I have to take your first answer. I'm not giving him. So you said Lesbian Wednesdays, correct? I would have also accepted Gordon Brown or Gary Barlow. So yeah, they're the other names considered. Longest song on the album, If You Were There, Beware, well done. D's for Dangerous, shortest, well done. So 23rd of April 2007, the album released. But I'm going to give you April 2007 because that's pretty solid knowledge. And then all the little promises that don't mean much from only ones who know you got right. It's not Richard Ayoade who did Teddy Picker. It's Roman Coppola who did Teddy Picker. Yeah.
Okay.
If you'd been listening to the episode that we covered, you'd know that. And then Dogs in Tempestuous Bays is said in which song? Too Much to Ask is the song.
Okay.
So that was, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. I still can't believe you got Mike Crossy. I'm so taking the credit for that. 4, 5.
You absolutely
6,
should for that
one. And Nick, we'll give it to Nick as well, shall we? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wow. 13 out of 18. That's pretty good going, I'd say. Really and what did you get again, Matt? You got 10. 10, yeah. This is still pretty close then, because I'm going to put it out. We'll go back to Tranquility first. So we stopped at number 16. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the one, and either both pass and we'll move on, or whoever says the answer first. If you say the answer and you're wrong, then it goes to the other person automatically. You phased out like it's catchphrase, which is something you won't understand what I've just said, Justin. But okay. The lyrics on She Looks Like Fun are inspired by which American comedy drama series? And yes, I did get that deep. Because I thought you'd be whizzing through it like there was no tomorrow.
Comedy drama in America?
Yeah, She Looks
I've
Like
never
Fun.
heard this. Oh. I'd like to know, actually, but I'll pass.
Any ideas, Justin? Okay.
Office?
No, it's a show called High Maintenance, which was on HBO, which is basically, I would recommend it. It's about a drug dealer in New York who's a weed dealer on his bike, and he every episode he goes to deliver weed to a new client, and the story's just about that new client and an interesting story. He gets into them, a funny story, and every episode it's a different story, and it's very Alex. And that's why She Looks Like Fun with the listing of the stuff, and that kind of thing inspired it, with it having different escapades in it. Yeah. So there you go. We learned something at least. And okay, next one. The album, obviously we said Le Fret was the studio in France, but the album was also recorded at what studios in Hollywood? I'm going to give you both a clue. It's also the name of a guitar amp.
Oh. Don't know.
Orange? Orange Studios?
No, Justin's out. Do you want to take a guess, Matt, at an amp at least?
Red Studios?
No, it's Vox Studios. Vox, yeah. Okay, next one. Philanthropic Toga Party is a line from which song?
Anyways.
Correct. Okay,
yes.
So that puts you on 14. What date was the album released?
May 2018.
Correct.
Wow.
Ooh, that puts you on 11. It's getting spicy. Name the first single release.
4 out of 5.
Starts out of 5.
Matt just pipped you to the post there. So that's 12. We're closing in. And the second single release.
Tranquility Base.
Correct. 13. Okay. Complete the lyric. I want to make a simple point about peace and love.
In a simple way, like it's not obvious. Or in a certain way, but
No, I'm not. I'm going to be really strict on this because
Yeah.
points is love. So gotta hand it over to Matt.
Oh, I thought I did have it, and then I was nodding along, thinking you got it.
It's close.
In a simple way, I think I've just said the exact same thing. I can't remember. It's gone completely out of my head.
Well, you were very close, but there's one crucial word that you got wrong. It isn't simple. It's but in a sexy way, where it's not obvious. And I can't allow simple over sexy because Alex saying sexy is too good. Yeah,
That's fair.
I think it's fair that we got simple instead of sexy.
Yeah, a lot of lesser songwriters would have put simple. So again, the genius of Alex, the sexy makes women's and mine heart jump. So still 14-13, still close stuff. The album was the UK's best-selling what in 25 years?
Vinyl?
Yes. Ooh, it's all even Stevens. Okay, 14 all. Well, we still got obviously Justin's era to do as well, but there is still another 10 questions here because I wrote so many. Which two tracks fade into one another?
A 1 point perspective and American sports.
Correct. 15-14. You only said it earlier. I was like, oh, he said it. I've got that question. Okay, this is an interesting one. So 15-14. Which song inadvertently predicted the 2020 COVID pandemic?
Golden Trunks?
No. Phased out. Matt, to you.
She Looks Like Fun?
Correct. Do you know why? You've already got the points.
Yeah.
So it's 15-15.
So, what was it? Taking it all off the street as of March?
Yeah, as of March. We take. There's nobody on the streets. It's all gone online as of March. Which is what happened. I don't know. Did that happen in America in March, or was it like?
Actually, I was in Korea at the time, and it hit Korea in, I guess, February, March-ish.
Yeah. So Alex predicting the future there.
Crazy.
So that is now 15 all again. Okay, this is some of these questions. Honestly, I really thought I was going to whiz through these, so I'm really going to get into the weeds with them. If you thought high maintenance was in the weeds, which piece of head garment is referenced in Monster Truck? Oh, that's all right, actually. Which piece of head garment is referenced in? I'm not going to say the full title. Monster Truck.
Is it a tea cozy or something like that?
No, not traditionally a head garment unless you're in Harry Potter and you're a house elf, but yeah.
Coronation Street.
Face down.
A bowler cap? Bowler? Does it say?
No. I thought you would both get that, actually. It's you and Lily wearing Stetson hats. Stetson hats. Yeah, well, my favorite part of that song, actually. So still 15 all. Okay, here we go. Which film director inspired the music videos for the era?
Stanley Kubrick.
Correct. 16-15. Oh, this was my favorite question that I wrote. Okay, so here it is. I felt really proud of myself for like 2 hours. Okay, here we go. If I was your babe, what would you be kissing me under on a crisp eve?
Moon side boob.
Correct.
Yes.
I was like, that should be on a game show. That's amazing.
That was one where my mind just went blank. I was like, I know this is a Jamie thing. Shit, no.
It looks like a moon side boob. 16 all. 16 all. Is this? Yeah, 16 all. Okay. What track recording machine did Alex use to make the demos? I mean, that's ridiculously hard, isn't it? I mean, yeah. Do you want to go? The brand of tape machine.
Well, I remember like reading about it, but I can't remember.
Yeah. I thought you were going to come in then and not get it right. All of a sudden. You both pass. I don't blame you. Yeah, this is how I thought we were going to whip through them. It's a Tascam 388 8-track recording machine. Okay. Name the drummer of the band Guards who contributed on 4 out of 5. That's right. They needed more than Helders. Can you believe it?
Another drummer.
From the band Guards, who I've never heard of, I'll be honest.
No,
I'm not familiar, yeah.
It is Lauren Humphrey. Like Lauren, like Loren. A male name, I think. Okay. So it's still 16 or... No, sorry. Yeah, 16 or. Name the 1973 film that inspired the lyrics and even features on the album. So the title, it's inspired the lyrics of the album, and it even features as a lyric on the album.
Oh. Oh my God. My friends are going to give me a lot of shit for this.
I know. I keep thinking of ones, but I know it's not that year. 73.
Oh,
no, that's the year. But what's the title of the film? The film isn't called 73. No, that's the year 1973 is when it came out. Well, what's the name of the film?
Yeah.
I'm trying. I'd give you a clue what song it's in, but I've blanked myself. I think it's in science fiction. I think it's in. Yeah, I think so. I could be wrong with that.
It's not.
Yeah, it's science fiction.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, is it?
No.
I'm just thinking it's one monster now.
No, that's before.
Get-
It's a Stanley Kubrick film, right?
It's not.
I think it's a Space Odyssey, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
No, it's not a Kubrick film either. It's World on a Wire, which is a film that inspired Alex to write the lyrics. And then obviously he says, "World on a Wire." Is it science fiction? Why? Yeah. Is it?
Yes, it's some science fiction.
Oh yeah. I've got that noise in my head when I sing it. Like, okay, so still 16 all. Oh no, you got Stanley Kubrick. No, it's still 16 all. Yeah. Complete the lyric, Mr. Bridge and Tunnel.
On the Starlight Express.
Correct. 1716. Yeah, great line. And now, so this one to end the tranquility questions. Complete the lyric to the era cover. I saw you dancing.
Like Sinatra.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'll give it you. Yeah, it's you moved like
Sinatra.
Like Sinatra.
I think
it's such a obscure one that I think I'm going to give it. Yeah, 1860.
Yeah.
And it's what is it? What's the song called? Dash? I don't even know what the song's called. But yeah, 18.
Yeah, Untitled or Minus or something. Yeah.
Like that Ed Sheeran album. Just is it minus sign? Is it Dash? I don't know. Shit. Either way. But yeah. So 1816. So okay. So we move on to favorite worst nightmare questions. Okay, you ready? What was the second single released?
Fluorescent Adolescent.
Correct. So there we go. 1817. Okay. Who directed that video?
Richard Ayoade or whatever.
18 all. Which Hollywood actor starred?
Stephen Graham.
Correct. 1918. What else did Richard Ayoade direct for them in this era?
In this era.
So of this time of this tour.
Not bright. Oh,
it's not a music video.
Yeah.
Oh, Live at the Apollo.
Correct.
Ah, yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2018.
Nice.
To Matthew. Complete the lyric. You can't kid us.
And you couldn't kid anyone.
Oh, do I give it? No, I was kind with the Sinatra one, so I'm phasing you out.
Yeah, that's fair.
Justin?
And you can't trick anyone?
Correct. 2019. Which two tracks fade into one another?
This House is a Circus and If You Were There, Beware.
Correct. 20 all. This is so hard for you, Justin, but I think it might be equally as hard for Mike. Remember, this was questions for your era, so... The album cover art was taken at a house in what district of Liverpool? It might be hard for you too, Matt, to be honest with you.
I think I know it.
Oh, God. Tense. It's so tense that I might have to... no, it doesn't begin with K. You're both still in it, though.
Top.
What did you say?
Top stuff.
No, I can't understand what you're saying, but you're not saying that, I don't think.
Oh, I was doing something in a Scouse accent.
It's a very Scouse word, actually. No, it's not. Do you want to take any guesses, Justin?
Is it like, I don't know, the district? Now, I'm trying to think. I remember when y'all talked about it and like reading off all the names of all the designers and everything. Is it like Gaston or something?
Oh, you know what? You know what? Just because that is so close and you're American and you clearly got that from listening to the pod, which is nice, that I'm going to give it you because that is pretty impressive because it's Garston. So the fact that you knew that is pretty, is pretty cool.
So what would be the spelling on that?
Garston.
Okay. I gotcha.
So pretty much says, you see, but it's a very Scouse word. That's like I said, Gaston. Miles would say that as he slipped off his pants and did God knows what next. Seem to be in the national newspapers, I imagine. But so that is 21-20 to Justin. Okay. Producer James Ford plays guitar on which track?
Only Ones Who Know.
Correct. 22-20. The album won Best British Album at which music awards?
Brit Awards.
Correct. 22-21. They attended the awards dressed as what?
Wizard of Oz.
No, phased out. You fell into my trap. You fell into my trap. I laid the trap.
Oh, I know what it is.
Do you have a guess, Matt?
Oh, I was going to say the same thing as well, but I know that was on.
That was when they couldn't attend the first album awards, and they did the kind of videos that they sent over.
I can't think. I've been sat here thinking for ages.
Okay, do you know what it is, Justin? You can't get the point.
Is it the Clowns?
Oh no!
It's not.
That was the other video they sent. They attended the Favourite Nightmare Brits dressed as farmers, dressed as like posh farmers with like flat caps on and everything. Yeah, of course, the silly buggers. But yeah, still 22-21. The Bad Thing depicts an in a relationship female celebrity flirting with Alex. Who is that celebrity? I covered it not that long ago.
Yeah.
I say covered it. Resented covering it.
I don't know.
It's somebody really annoying, isn't it? I do remember it now.
I can't really give you a clue because it would be too good of a clue for you, Matt, and not a good clue for Justin, I feel. Both passing?
Yeah. Yep.
The clue I would have given you, Matt, would have been Pete Doherty. Was the person that this person was in a relationship with.
Kate Moss.
Yeah, it was Kate Moss.
I wouldn't have got it.
Fly dog. Yeah, trying it on with Alex. But yeah, so still 22-21. Okay. If I was a lovely lad, what would the walls make me?
Sweat.
No, phased out.
Pass. Don't know.
Sinners.
Makes sense.
Yeah, these walls make lovely lads. Yeah, that one was a bit of a.
Oh, I was thinking about Cornerstone.
You're thinking Cornerstone, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so still 22-21. Fluorescent Adolescent was co-written by who?
Joanna Bennett.
Correct.
Nice.
23-21. Now married to Kings of Leon, dude.
Yeah.
If You Were There, Beware depicts a phone call between a journalist and who?
Alex's grandmother.
Yes. Or if you were from here, you'd say Alex's nan.
23-21.
But I'll give it you. Okay. 24-21. Okay. Complete the lyric. And when did your list
replace the twist?
Correct. 24-22 and turn, but I'll give you that because Okay. Complete the lyric again. Brian.
Top marks for not trying.
Yeah. 25-22. Okay, so Justin has won because it's the last question here, but yeah, it is the last one. Complete the lyric to the era cover. When you left the house this evening.
To the era cover. Oh, Erica, when you left the house this evening.
I'll give you a clue. It's not Alex singing the cover.
And it's this era. Gotcha. I thought you'd be back in a little while.
Yes. Very
Yeah.
good. Very good.
Bad woman. Bad woman.
So, when you left the house this evening, in Richard Hawley's dulcet tones. So 26-22. Now, so well done, Justin. Nick sent me. I said to Nick, okay, so I'm going to put this in here. I didn't include this because I thought it would be way too harsh on Justin. But I said to him, like, I've got like 20 questions for Fate Worst Nightmare. I need to do 15 more. Didn't in the end, but it made for a fun round there. I said to him, can you send me a question, any Fate Worst Nightmare questions? And he sent me this, and I'd be interested to know if either of you get it. In the Teddy Picker video, Helders is drinking what brand of cider?
Strongbow?
No,
it's not going to be, is it?
Justin probably doesn't have a clue. No, it was Magnus. It was Magnus, and I said to Nick, I can't ask Justin that. He's not going to know what the fuck I'm talking about if I ask him that. It's really hard as it is. It's a great question, but it's not even from the UK. He's not going to know what Magnus is.
It was popular around that time, wasn't it?
It was very popular around that time. Yeah, he's there in the pub with his pint of Magnus. But yeah. Okay, so that was fun. So Justin, you win. Now we're going to do something where we, together as a group, rank and decide the order of the best music videos from the first two eras that we've already covered. Because if I did them all, Nick would have a breakdown that he wasn't involved. So we'll just do those two. He's probably on a breakdown now listening, actually. I just meant to remember that when you said earlier that your favorite album was Tranquility, Matt, I was all prepped to do this.
Technological advances really blooming get me in the mood.
There you go. Seems that they do. Yes, we're going to rank the music videos, but it kind of seems like, wouldn't you both say, that in a way we're kind of reviewing them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Through, yeah.
So let's start at the beginning, shall we? Should we start with Fake Tales of San Francisco? The kind of, it's not I guess, kind of half fan made, I guess, or half. It's a very independent music video, let's say.
Just like a compilation, mostly. Yeah, just like some live stuff. Yeah.
I love this video. So actually, we should just say, just to get our biases out of the way. So my favorite Arctic Monkeys video, full stop, that you'll know from the pod, is Teddy Picker. The Teddy Picker video is still my favorite. It's still one that, like, if I'm drunk and we're just playing YouTube randomly in the background, as soon as I hear the stand up to the sun of the dim warm up, I'm like, oh my god, it's on. I love that video so much. That's my favorite. What's your favorite video from this era?
So there was like three kind of competing a lot, but I put my number one at Leave Before the Lights Come On.
Great choice.
Yeah, just from like, I'm like always reviewing movies and stuff too, so I'm always looking at like, what is the story here, and like what are these people doing and stuff. So
and
the
video has two UK movie stars in it.
She's
in Liz from Shaun of the Dead, and Paddy Considine's kind of a transatlantic star now as well, because he's in House of Dragon, I believe, and stuff. So great story, interesting story that video tells. In no way relates to the song, but it's just kind of an interesting tale. With strange idea. I was thinking, who had that idea? Like, who was it that came in the room and went, let's do this?
Yeah, there's a couple of those too. I think just you'll see in my rankings, I give more points towards, I guess, like some kind of story. So all of the ones, which is kind of unfortunate too, I feel kind of conflicted, because a lot of the story ones don't involve the band in any kind of way. So I'm always conflicted, because I'm like, I would like to see the band in the videos, but most of the time they're just not, unless it's like a compilation or they're performing like in the studio or live on stage or something. So I am a little conflicted about that, but I did give more weight towards the storied ones for sure.
No, I agree with you. I think with the Teddy Picker women favorite, I guess it's nostalgic, and I think, but at the time it was a little slice of seeing them in the studio, which we hadn't really seen before, because at the time there wasn't as much stuff, YouTube videos of stuff like that out there, apart from Helder's little clips. So I think that's where that comes from. And the same goes for Fake Tales, I guess, because I suppose when I watch that original Fake Tales, it's very nostalgic because it reminds me of being, 15 and seeing that video and being like, oh my God, and seeing those gigs and Alex just doing that mad dance when it goes fast and stuff like, crazy. But obviously I don't think Fake Tales will be the top.
It is charming though, just because of the age, because I mean that even maybe you know better about this. I would assume that came out before the actual album came out, because I assume it came out with the 5 minutes or whatever.
I could be wrong, but I think it even came out before Dance Floor. So it was like it wasn't even a video. It's not like it was a video that I think it did then get put on TV when they became big news, but it was just a fan thing. It was kind of a shared thing. I don't think there was anything particular. I think there's you've seen it a lot with them. There's a very small production company called Bang Bang Films in Sheffield that they kind of knew the people and they were making their videos and stuff. So it was kind of a bit of in the same way they did everything then. They were doing it themselves, making stuff, getting loads of traction. So even if they weren't doing it on purpose and everything kind of was happening around them, it was still pretty cool. So they like us to believe. But and then obviously the Dance Floor video is it's a hard one, this, because again I prefer music videos with stories as well. But that was like, because I got into them, somebody had given me my cousin had kind of got me into them on this pirated copy of the first album, and got into them, and then this video came out, and it was like the coolest thing ever because it was just them playing it, and they didn't look like a band. They didn't look like they just looked like us. They were dressed like us and they spoke like us. And he says at the start, don't believe the hype, and it's like, whoa, what the fuck is this guy? And they just played this live version of the song, and Elders is winking at the cam, and it was shot like some kind of old TV show here, and and it was on the news because the album was like the fastest selling debut album here, so it was like the big news at 10 o'clock that everyone used to watch back when people used to watch the news at a scheduled time. It was like 10 o'clock news, and it was like band Arctic Monkeys have broken that, and it's just crazy. They were everywhere. So that video is like very nostalgic again, and cool. How does that video play in America when you were that age, when you see that video on TV? Did it get a lot of airtime? I don't even know.
Well, I don't remember ever seeing it on television. And I remember when you guys were covering it, I think you kind of mentioned when you were covering the Dance Floor episode and you just said like it looks like an old kind of TV show. And so even watching it now, it doesn't give me any kind of vibes. It honestly, I kind of confuse it with, I think one of their covers at the time from that same era was Take It or Leave It. And I would watch that a lot because it wasn't an actually like released song. And so watching it this time, I was like just kind of confusing those moments in my mind. Honestly.
Yeah, if it wasn't part of the zeitgeist like it was here, I could see why that would be. And it's similar to that. It's funny you say that, actually, because I think their idea for the video, although we put it to looking a bit like, I think it was the Grey Whistle Test, this show that used to show bands, or there was a few of them back in the day here where they just have different bands performing. I think they actually had the idea. It's very similar to a Strokes video. I can't think how the Strokes video is, but there's a Strokes video where the band just play a live version of the song in a very similar way. I think an early Strokes video, I can't remember what song it is now, but it always reminds me of that. So I think in their minds, maybe because they were such big Strokes fans, that maybe they were, tapping into that as well. So it's interesting, isn't it, how like personal experiences change it. And I suppose then, so When the Sun Goes Down wouldn't have been one that you would have seen on TV either at the time. It wasn't. I mean, when did I guess they made little dents at the time, didn't they? But I guess the first time I remember them being a big thing in America was kind of maybe Suck It and See, was when because they went on tour with the Black Keys and stuff, and I think they started to get a bit more traction, and then obviously took them to that next level. But
so the first time I saw them live was on the Humbug tour in 2009 in Louisiana, the House of Blues in New Orleans.
So cool. Fuck you.
So I have an amazing story to go with that. So me and my friends, it was the first time I had been to New Orleans, and the two friends I went with, his sister lived in New Orleans. So that's why we chose to go there. And we showed up super early because it's like a 10-hour drive. And they just so happened to be there. Well, we showed up at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon and walked into the venue and were literally standing right next to the stage while they were practicing. And they did a song that they've never performed live. We watched them perform the Arcade Fire song that was in the trailer for Where the Wild Things Are. Which had, I think, come out at that same year. And so we recognized it. And I always thought that was going to be like a Diamonds Are Forever or some kind of cover that came out. And they never performed it. Like, we watched them sound check it and they never performed it ever again. It was the wildest thing. And we were standing there. I remember like Alex looked over at me and I was like, oh shit, we shouldn't be here. And we like kind of bounced after that. And it was fucking crazy. Yeah. So, but that was 2009 and the venue was packed out. That was House of Blues or whatever. I think. Yeah. House of Blues. Yeah. So
that's a fucking cool story that I'm jealous of.
Yeah.
So.
It was like that one I saw them 2 other times after that. Nothing ever like that happened again. But yeah, it was a wild situation.
I think we're having technical difficulties. I think Justin's mic's not working. I think we're cutting him out. Oh my god! No, I'm just winding you up.
Okay.
I'm just jealous. I'm bitter and jealous. No, that's great. That's what a cool story. So they'd never, because they never have covered an Arcade Fire song, have they? So
yeah, I have to look that up. I'll look it up. It was I remember at the time because we were like, oh, I recognize
the trailer. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, where the wild things are.
Trailers like the ones that they do.
Wake Up. It's called Wake Up by the Arcade Fire. Yeah. So,
but it does have a story.
It does, yeah. And the same guy too, who's in I know him from like Boardwalk Empire or
yes,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's funny because he's very Liverpudlian in real life. He's in a lot of American stuff now, isn't he? He's in Gangs of New York as well, I think. He was in The Irishman last year. But obviously tells a story that's pretty similar to the song. The actual short film, the full short film from it they basically made it because of the song. They had the idea from the song, so all shot in that area that the song's about. Again, Bang Bang Films. Andy's in it, getting accosted by a prostitute. But what's your favorite video, Matt?
Teddy Picker. Same.
Yeah. Is it for me? It's just because it reminds me of how cool it was at the time because you'd never really seen them in the studio and stuff. Like,
pretty much. I do love Leave Before the Lights come on as well. Again for the story.
That was Justin's show.
Great little twist. And a great actor in it as well. But yeah, Teddy Picker. I've always liked that video.
By the way, if you might not have seen this, Justin, but you should check out a film called Dead Man's Shoes.
I've never seen it.
I know you do horror covers, but I guess it's kind of a thriller, isn't it? It's a bit like terrifying.
We blur that line a lot.
Yeah, I reckon you could probably cover it, and you would watch one of the most intense films you've probably ever seen. It's madness, but yeah, that's actually made by the production. I think it's the same production company that do some of Arctic Monkey stuff. So it's in Sheffield. I filmed in Sheffield, I think. So yeah, you should check it out. Okay. But yeah, so okay. So we got to the Picker 2 there. So because otherwise this pod's going to be about 3 hours long if we don't speed this up. So Fake Tales is, as I say to Nick every week when we're recording. So let's go. We'll take our personal biases out of it. We've got Fake Tales, Dance Floor. Should we View from the Afternoon? Oh, sorry, Leave Before the Lights Come On. What am I doing? Fake Tales, Dance Floor, When the Sun Goes Down, View from the Afternoon, Leave Before the Lights Come On, Brian Storm, Teddy Picker, Fluorescent Adolescent. Now, View from the Afternoon is a really interesting one in terms of story as well, because it's obviously just a drummer on a council estate here in the UK outside some flats, being terrorized by people, some weird stuff that I think I tried to delve into, and I can't remember now because it was so long that we covered it, but there's like an internet theory about how it all relates to Buddha. Buddha, and I remember getting really deep on it, and I was like, what am I doing? But some of it stood up. I don't know if that's where the band's minds were at the time, if I'm being honest, but there you go. The director might have been, though. So I think if I was to take my personal biases aside, because here's how it kind of runs down for me. Fake Tales is a fan-made video, basically, essentially, an indie music video. Dance Floor is just them performing, but in a cool way, and it's very nostalgic. When the Sun Goes Down is actually a short film that's then edited down, so interesting. View from the Afternoon is an interesting take, especially, and them also knowing that the drums are the key aspect of that song to be able to do that. Brian Storm is basically a Beyonce video with the band playing, Teddy Picker again, live performance, and Fuss Adolescent is again another sort of cool idea that kind of links to the song in sound, I'd say, in a weird way, clowns fighting and stuff. But it's kind of a film called Quadrophenia here in the UK, an old film about mods fighting, and it's kind of that with clowns, I suppose.
Oh, okay.
So that's interesting video. So what, speaking objectively, what I wonder what we all agree is the least interesting video out of all of them. I think if I was to take my biases out, I'd probably have to go Fake Tales just because it's so independent.
That's the one I have in my last spot.
Is it really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I quite like the charm of it, to be honest.
I love the charm
in a way. It is, yeah.
My second choice for that spot could be Brian Storm, though, because it makes me laugh, but it isn't got a whole lot of interest around it, really. So yeah, I'd be either or with those, I think.
I would be. So I have Brainstorm a little bit higher up, but of the ones, that would be the one I would be okay to drop because it doesn't have the story and it's more just style. I think it's funny that it, as heavy as a song as it is and is different for Arctic Monkeys, the dance style that goes with it was always kind of humorous for me, but it's not. Yeah, no story or anything. So yeah, I could drop that one for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think
what would you go
quite
Matt,
like.
yeah?
I agree. Actually, I think mostly I prefer bands sometimes just playing. You know, for music videos, I do quite like. But it is quite a boring video.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you can tell me, Matt. I was trying to remember. I always felt also, although it looked like 70s, the dance floor video in their minds might have been inspired by a Strokes video where they just play. I couldn't remember the Strokes song. It's very similar. They just come out and they just play. Is it Last Night? I was so sure it wasn't.
Behind Strokes, hasn't it?
Yeah, it is Last Night, isn't it?
I think it is. Yeah.
Funny, both of their songs that were two of their most famous songs that everyone hates. Or like when fans hate, fans love to hate the songs. I imagine Strokes, really big Stroke fans, probably like if you say Last Night's the best song, they'll tear your eyes out. I imagine, but yeah. So let's meet in the middle and say that Brian Storm and Fake Tales go in those last two slots in whatever order we want to put them in. Probably my next least favorite one. If I was to crack one on, it probably would be Dance Floor because it is very nostalgic for me. But I'm not very likely to watch it if I had the choice. So I'd probably go Dance Floor next, but I could be swayed.
I suppose Dance Floor. I very rarely listen to that song anyway, so I certainly wouldn't watch that video again unless it came up on sort of YouTube shuffle, I guess.
Yeah. Unless Alex is shouting ladies before it, I'm not interested really in that song anymore.
Yeah, that's the one that's in my. So I had Fake Tales and then Dance Floor. So I would be fine to drop it. Yeah.
Cool. So Dance Floor next. Okay. So next I would. It's getting a bit murky, isn't it? I guess I would have to go then. In that essence, I would probably have to go with The View from the Afternoon because although I think it's an interesting story, and I love watching it, but it isn't held. If it was held as playing the drums in that video, if I was gonna, I would rather put on the what's it called, multicam Matt from Live at the Apollo and watch that than watch the View from the Afternoon video. So because it's not held as, it gets deducted points, and it is a bit funny if you're from kind of a council state sort of area in the UK. It's pretty funny to watch that video because you can you can see the characters in the people that who those we think, oh yeah, that would be him. He'd be throwing kebab meat at them. But other than that, it's probably gonna have to go next for me.
My only other one that I would like. So I'm not really crazy about the Fluorescent Adolescent video, mostly just because it's kind of random. I always had this crazy conspiracy theory or just like theory that like they intended to have this house as a circus as a single, and that would be the video for it because it kind of fits the more chaotic nature of it and the clowns. But for Fluorescent Adolescent, it never really hit for me. And since it's just nothing's timed to the music, nothing, it literally you could put any kind of song over it and it would be fine. It wouldn't change anything about the video. So I was always like, I wonder if this was really made for this song. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't think I ever watch it really. I think the last time I'd watched it in years was when I when we sat down to do the episode. And I think I know what you mean. I love it. I think I loved it then because it was Rich Daiwadi, and it was there's a bit of like there's bits in it that reminds me of a TV show called Spaced here, and there's the clown stuff that's a bit like Quadrophenia, and it's kind of taking the piss out of British sort of gangstery films, which I can't stand anyway. So it kind of a lot plays into it, but then I think I might be getting kind of mixed up in the fact that when they went on Jonathan Ross dressed as clowns, and they performed it live dressed as clowns, might be feeding into that as well, because I loved that when they did that. So there's actually a picture of me out there dressed as a sad clown on Halloween that year because I was so obsessed with it, but I have to get that out there in the ether. But yeah, I got over a lot of girls that night. It was a very good costume. Back in my day, to get that in there. But yeah, it was so yeah, I wouldn't be, it would probably be next for me anyway. So I wouldn't fight you on it now.
Okay. I had it quite high, me. I think I got back into it again when it came back into the set, when it came back to the UK for the tour. I would like to test that theory though, Justin. Like if we tried, I might try it one time, download the video and try a few tracks over it.
Yeah. Because I think Fluorescent Adolescent, and I could look it up, and this House of Circus are close, like within, I would probably guess 10 to 15 seconds, to where if there was some extra footage or they cut it down, it would be easy. That was always my guess. But as far as I remember, nothing linked specifically to the music or like music hits or anything like that. So.
I think there's one part of the photos, where they look back at themselves when they're younger, and it's the where did you go?
Yes, where did you go? Yeah, I think. Do you remember when we covered it and we were talking about how to us it sounded like Carnival-esque, and it sounded like nostalgia because it is about somebody looking back on their life, and I think clowns. I think they're playing on clowns and adolescence, and I think the idea. I think the story is basically that it's two friends that were friends as kids that were from different worlds, and then they've grown up and grown apart and they're fighting, but then in that moment they realize and remember how they used to be friends, which is kind of a take on Fluorescent Adolescent in a way. Yeah, you know, in that concept of being older and looking back and how exciting your life was then and how things are different now. So I think I've taught myself into having it a bit higher, but I think that's what feeds into it. But yeah, and I always wondered why, when they took that house apart for the cover they went to all that effort in Garston of taking that house apart and designing it and doing the cover, why they didn't just shoot at This House is a Circus video while they're in a house with all that stuff in it.
That is a shame. Yeah. Because I love the album art as well. Yeah.
Yeah. But there you go. They didn't. Or a balaclava video that no one wants. Could be in there. That is one of the ones where the metaphor stood. So I've got a special, at least that didn't let me down. Okay, so you had so it was view from and then be fluorescent, but we're kind of let's park it then because
either one's fine.
Yeah, we'll have them there, and then so we've got left When the Sun Goes Down and Teddy Picker
and Leave Before the Lights.
Spot. Oh, sorry, Leave Before the Lights. Come on. So that was your top, and Teddy Picker was ours. So would we all agree that When the Sun Goes Down is? So it's 3, 2, 1, basically, we're going to decide here. Now, we all had the others in the top spot, which would imply that we're going to have them first and second.
Yeah, and so When the Sun Goes Down would be kind of third by default, yeah.
That's got Andy in it. But it has also got a racist actress in it, as it turns out. So points taken away for that. Really? Yeah, it turns out she got in a taxi and used a bad word at a taxi driver, and her career ended. So yeah. So not that man's fault though, is it? But no, but an actor called Stephen Graham is in it as well, and he's now a Hollywood star. So yeah, what can you say? That kind of amps it up. And Andy's cameo and Helder's cameo as well, obviously. But no. But yeah, third. I think third is good for that. That would mean then we have to scrap it out over Leave Before the Lights Come On and Teddy Picker. Now, I'm not just going to simply say it's 2 against 1. Fuck off. I'm not going to say that.
No.
Unless a man than me would say it. I wouldn't even say that.
Well, I will concede. That I had Teddy Picker higher than any. Like as for a live performances, it was high. And as I kind of mentioned before, the biggest negative for me for a lot of the Monkeys videos is that they're not participating. in it. So to have Teddy Picker, it is, charming to have like a live version and them setting up and going like, getting some drinks and stuff like that. So I do appreciate the charm of Teddy Picker for sure.
Yeah. And I appreciate the charm of Live for Lights Come On because it's a really good video and it's a really good story. And I always loved that. And as you know, that was my favorite song for a while.
Yeah.
Until of If You Were There Beware took it. So, and everyone's wrong but me about what it's like. Did you agree with me, Matt? Was that you that agreed with me?
Did I say? I think I did.
I think you emailed me, that it was because Nick says it's about a nightclub, but I always saw it about a house party and being there.
The morning
after the lights coming on, the morning after, I still think I'm right, even though one of our listeners that we listen now came up to us in the middle of the gig in Manchester and said hello to us and then said, Nick's right, you're wrong, Dan. And I was like, but then the guy did find me in the crowd, Joey Suckett, and say, this is your favorite song, so I'll forgive him.
There you go.
That was an emotional moment. But no, we're definitely right there, Matt. It's definitely about that. Obviously.
I think so.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense narratively. Anyway, don't get me started. We'll be here all night. But yeah.
One thing I do like about to argue for Leave Before the Lights Come On, not super hard, but the twist at the end is very reminiscent of a lot of Alex's lyrics, like things like The Bakery or Quarterstone or Second and Sea, where it's got that twist. And so in some ways it kind of represents them in that kind of way, even though they're not, participating in it. And
it's got the cool freeze frame during the sort of solo-y bit where they're shouting at each other and where the song comes in. You know what I think personally, and stepping in, Matt, but I would say that I'm playing into Teddy Picker because of a lot of nostalgia and it's a really good video, and it is directed, by the way, by Roman Coppola, whose dad directed The Godfather, so we'll let that affect it, but but his sister was in The Godfather 3 though, so he loses points for that. But I would say it's a great video, but Live Lights Come On is a better video as a story, isn't it? We're feeding a lot of nostalgia in with Teddy Picker, you say.
I think you'd be proud to come up with that idea and to film it that well and get them actors in it. Maybe not the other one. So I think it is a better video.
And I'm also really proud of the way that I can reenact that video using just my voice, the start of it anyway, with the pass of time and it's even folder. So that's just my party trick for that, if anyone cares. So no, I'm gonna go Live for Lights Come On. I think it's Teddy Picker than Live for Lights Come On because it is a cool video.
Yeah,
it is a very cool video.
That, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I actually left it off my list originally because I forgot about it. So make it up to it. I was just thinking album track. Okay, so there we go. We're going kind of with Fake Tales / Brainstorm at the bottom there, and then we're going View from / I mean, we didn't really commit to anything, did we? It was me and Nick never do either. But then we're going sort of I think View from the Afternoon as well / Fluorescent. But I think what we can all agree on is that the best ones are When the Sun Goes Down, Teddy Picker, Leave Before the Lights Come On, and the best videos of the era. And plenty more where that came from as time goes on. Some very interesting videos on the horizon. Yeah. But the first song is a video, isn't it? I always forget about that one.
I do too.
Yeah, I always forget that there's a video for My Propeller coming in January.
Strange, isn't it? Strange.
Like a boat on a green screen, something like that. Like, they're obsessed with boats.
Crying Lightning.
Oh yeah, of course. What? Oh, My Propeller's like a drawing. Is it like a
it's like a filter thing, right?
Yeah. Is it a bit like the Do I Want to Know one, but like a kind of different vibe to it? I can't remember now.
Without the budget.
But I think they're playing. Yeah.
Without the AM Hollywood budget.
Yeah.
Wrexham before they got bought. That was My Propeller compared to that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do, as we've already well established, that Matt's favorite era is tranquility based.
No logical advances really blooming get me in the mood.
And Justin's era is favorite was Nightmare. You forgot the words. You fucked it up, Alex. You fucked it up. Helder's pissing himself. But yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do an XI, an album XI. We're gonna pit them track by track, which is normally the hell that me and Nick have to go through. But because Nick isn't here to help me decide, I'm gonna take all my personal biases out, and I'm going to let both of my guests give an argument for that why their song should be picked, and I'm going to go solely off that. Maybe I'll let a little bit of bias. If it's obvious which song's better, then that's that really. But so the first one in this would of course be Star Treatment and Brainstorm. So Justin, would you like to? Justin, tell me why Brainstorm's the.
Yeah, sure. So a couple things about this one. First, I wrote like Brainstorm is a slap in the mouth to start an album in this way. Even coming off some of the faster songs from the first album. I mean, this was just a totally different beast. In my mind, too, this is like the introduction of Nick, and they give him that kind of time to shine. He was on Leave Before the Lights Come On, but I think that was played back in like 2005. So I think those parts were mostly Andy. So it's kind of like the reintroduction of the band that we know and love today. It's definitely a staple in the live show. I think it's been played the most times, maybe behind the dance floor. It's pretty much like never left. So I still think in a lot of ways, the guys like really love it too. And also too, I like how it kind of cements the idea that the first song on the album kind of needs to represent the album and started off in a really strong way, which The View from the Afternoon started it, but I feel like Brainstorm made it the trend of like, this is what needs to happen continuing on. So yeah, Brainstorm, love it.
It's a compelling argument, and I'll tell you at the end what my biases lean or what my ideas were. But before I do that, Matt, do you want to tell me why
that's
Star Treatment, famously polarizing song Star Treatment, why that should be the song that's picked? Not to me, not my words.
So I can see it, and that is a very compelling argument, Justin. I wish I wrote some stuff down now because I did for everything else but this part. I think what you said about Brainstorm
comes from the heart. Come on.
Yeah, and probably a couple of pints. So Star Treatment does set up that album. It is so committed to what the album's going to be, with the opening piano twinkles. I think that's the right word, isn't it?
It's just some words.
It's just completely setting yourself up for it. So unexpected. Nobody thought they was going to do that, especially after AM and a 5-year gap. And other than that, it's just a fantastic song. I think what I really like about it the most is it's got Alex's great storytelling, and also not quite understanding what he's going on about, especially for the first few listens. And by the end, it's the final line, which always reminds me a bit of is it She's Thunderstorms? Not that it's the same thing, but it's that same kind of double meaning of the Star Treatment. As we guessed, that was, isn't it? And I think it's the double meaning Star Treatment, which you would give to somebody, wouldn't you? When he's talking about a lounge singer doing 4 nights a week, it's it's the Star Treatment given to it. It's also the Star Treatment lighting up the light going ahead. I just think, and I do like Brainstorm, but I think Star Treatment's just something else.
This one's
Dan
really
has
hard.
the hardest part in this.
I know. I said I don't know why I said I didn't before. That it would be. I've definitely got the hardest part. It's the picking that's the hard bit. Of course it is. So here's my thoughts coming into it. My heart was with Star Treatment because, nostalgia is with Brainstorm. Brainstorm is Brainstorm, and it's a great song. And I'm a big lover of Helder's, so points for that. One of his best works. Star Treatment lyrically is very interesting for all the reasons you just gave, and also obviously it gives us what is turned out to be an iconic Arctic Monkeys line. I just wanted to be one of the strokes. I look at the mess you made me make, and I do love the whole handcuffed to a suitcase and then in the backseat of a car on a long drive. Yeah, I love it. That is like he's written a song and gone, what would Dan like? And he's written that. So as he often does.
And I think what that lyric, an apparition. What is it? An apparition is a cheap date, and you see it from the rear view mirror. Just so you can picture it completely, can't you? He's wrote a film with them lyrics.
He has, and you try. Look at you coming in here and throwing another slice.
Can I offer a counter argument?
Go on.
So I also do love Star Treatment as well. But you said something I had never considered about maybe 1 Point Perspective might be a better opener for that album. And I never thought, and I started listening to the album. I rearranged it in a playlist with that being the point. And honestly, I think I kind of agree with that. It's like Star Trek. It's weird to put it some other places in some instances, but also too, I think more people might have been more receptive if 1 Point Perspective had opened the album.
So here's you both your arguments, your counter argument and second argument. Great. What here's going through my head is Brian Storm, Helders, and the nostalgia of me in a supermarket canteen at 17, listening to it for the first time on Zane Lowe's show, texting Nick about it, and then Start Treatment having, when I first heard it, I was like, just like everyone else, I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And then I think 2 days later, I was kind of obsessed with the whole album. So it's that jarring. I think I'm gonna have to give it to Star Treatment only because I think lyrically it pips Brian Storm. Brian Storm loses points because it isn't a very interesting lyric song. It's kind of funny, but it's not great. It's not his best work. So I think because I think that no depth, and because Star Treatment, that's not going to how it's going to go for the whole of this album, by the way, because I think there's other songs that do, but Star Treatment has interesting music that is so like it's almost not a song, is it? It's just a stream of consciousness and some weird music. But it's like, well, once you get it, once it clicks, it's like the first time when you listen to Paranoid Android, maybe, and you think this is just weird lyrics and no structure to a song. What's going on? But when it clicks, you go, wow, this is like the best song I've ever heard. And I think Star Treatment has that click as well. Before anyone gets annoyed, I'm not saying it's as good as Paranoid Android. Before I get any tweets or anything like that, that's like one of the best albums ever made. But so Star Treatment wins the first one, but the second one, oh God, it's never easy, is it? 1 Point Perspective versus Teddy Picker. Matt, do you want to tell us why I should pick Teddy Picker?
Why 1 Point Perspective?
Sorry, why I should not? Why I should pick 1 Point Perspective?
I'm just thinking about you saying about starting the album now. I've never thought about that before.
I never thought about it either.
We have Brainstorm actually. 1 Point Perspective. This is an hard one to describe because it possibly is one of my favorite Arctic Monkeys songs. I'm going to be terrible for defending these songs. I hope you've got some good stuff wrote down to defend them for me. Let me think. I
can't do that because it makes me look not biased.
I know. Yeah. I'm going to be terrible at this part. It's a fantastic song. It's I can't even think of the lyrics now. It's too much pressure on me.
I want to give. I've just realized how good this song is, and now I want to give Brian Storm to the first song, so it doesn't look like I'm just going to pick.
I think it speaks for itself, this song, and I think again a bit like Star Treatment, you don't quite get it. Did you watch the Jules Holland performance last year?
Yeah,
I think because I was getting my girlfriend into Arctic Monkeys at the time, and I was sort of put it on and stuff, and she was sort of getting into a bit more since Body Paint came out, and I watched that again, and I thought. It was like I'd not heard it before. Just seeing it live again, 1 Point Perspective. It's and again, it's also one of my favourite moments with that little solo that comes through. I always think less is more with stuff like that, and I think that just proves it.
Yeah. Oh God. Right. Okay. Hit me with Teddy Picker. Come on.
All right. I'm gonna do my best then. Okay. So what I wrote, the reason Favorite Worst Nightmare, it resonates so much with me is because it came out so quickly, and I think that actually was a good idea because the first album was so iconic. And the thing about that one is most of the time when you do kind of polls, people will say oh, Vampires is the worst on there. It's maybe the one that you could cut or whatever. And Teddy Picker, I think, kind of speaks to that because it's perceptive in a way that's not just about going out to clubs and partying. It's speaking for the youth in a way that's insightful and not just rebellious. It is that kind of punk style, but it's saying something and something that's important for who they were at the time and what the album kind of represents as well for moving this band who shows they don't want to just be known for, I bet you look good on the dance floor, moving forward. And it's became an iconic song. It has, a fantastic solo. And it's I don't know, it's chipping away at these popular ideas and kind of giving this beacon, but in a fun pop punk kind of sound. So I think it's like taking the step that the first album took and moving them forward in a direction that they really wanted to go and needed to resonate with people.
That's a very good argument. And okay, here's where my head's up. One point perspective would be my personal bias, because I have a lot of personal things to that song as well, as when we cover it, I'll talk about. And I do think it's an absolutely phenomenal tune. But what you've just reminded me of is that Teddy Picker, the lyrics are so good, and they're not just like with Brian Storm, they're funny, but like you said, Teddy Picker's actually making a point, which was very important at the time. These celebrities that get plucked out, and he was making this point about fame, and it was very much a UK thing at the time. This kind of person, you know who they were, you know, celebrity Big Brother types, people like that, and I think it's such a cool song. The video again is great, but I think the lyrics are so insightful and funny at the same time, which is hard to do that, like with the first album, that I think I'm going to give it to Teddy Picker. Yeah, another day it could easily be one point perspective, but I think I'm going to give it Teddy Picker.
I know I've got an uphill battle, but I'll do my best. It's okay.
You definitely got an uphill battle with an Yeah, you did. You convinced me.
Yeah,
you charmed me. So convinced. Okay, speaking of uphill battles, it is American Sports versus D is for Dangerous. Justin, why don't you go for for D is for Dangerous?
Okay, so I'm going to try to give this one a little bit more depth than I think that is typically associated with this song, which is fair, but also to a big thing, their perception, and also to what I think was resonating with them going into the second album is the big thing of Andy leaving or whatever. And even just the representative of, this is somebody we played with as kids, that we grew up with, and even this perception of like, oh, they're becoming huge superstars now, and like sticking with the people who are around you and those kind of things. So one of the things that I really appreciate about this song is it feels like it's kind of almost supporting Nick in a way. And I think even like the instrumentation kind of does that, where the guitars drop out a lot. You know, we had some good moments with Nick in Brian Storm, but it was the whole band kind of firing on all cylinders. This one I feel like is a Nick highlight, an important moment where, you know, it might be important to kind of like represent him as like, he's in the band, we're with him, as much fun as we had with Andy or whatever. I just think it's a fun Nick highlight. And yeah, and it's just a kind of a fun way to reestablish the group of like, we have this old sound with Andy, Nick can represent that in this kind of way, but also it's going to bring a new kind of flash and flare to what we are as well. So that's how I kind of see D is for Dangerous.
It's a good argument. It's a good argument. So, Matt, what are you coming with for American Sports?
American Sports, it always feels like the sort of little sibling to One Point Perspective. And I think it's overlooked for a long time when you first listen to Tranquility. And once you more get into the theme of the album and the
you just say what I want to hear, aren't you? This is your argument.
Yeah, a little bit.
You just tell me what I want to hear.
Is that obvious? No, I think it carries on that very loose theme about, you know, the hotel casino on the moon. And I think it's got.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, in a roundabout way. I think it carries on those.
No, I know what you mean.
Themes. Yeah. And I love the part that comes in when it's the what's it called now? I was looking at the lyrics a minute ago, just trying to remember some things about it. It's the most muscular regret explode before my eyes, or behind my eyes, or something.
Yeah, explode behind my eyes, like American Sports. Yeah,
yeah. The music accompanying it, just fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Justin. It was a good argument, but I think all day long, because you not only did
that one.
I was thinking it's underappreciated, but it's also I love the piano in that. I love that piano riff. That does not get enough love. If somebody wrote that piano riff for a mainstream song and sang more obvious lyrics about romance or something over it, that would be a huge hit, because that piano is great.
Yeah.
But I think that you just reminded the Muscular Regrets, and that guitar that comes in, that kind of in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry, but it's got it. D is for Dangerous is perhaps a little bit too on the basic side. I do appreciate that it's an excellent Nick song, and it has got a great lyric in it with the favorite Worst Nightmare.
Yeah, it did give us the title. Yeah,
dirty little Herbert as well is in there. But But no, sorry, American Sports wins that battle. So at the minute, our XI would be Star Treatment, Teddy Picker, American Sports, which I think is fair. And this is an interesting contest next. It is Golden Trunks, well, not the weakest on both, because Bad Things on this album. What's that going to be?
Oh, no, next one would be Tranquility Base, right?
Yeah,
you know, I do this. Yeah. I do this every time. I put, for some reason, I put Golden Trunks after American Sports and then do Tranquility. Oh, it's an interesting one then. Tranquility Base, Hotel and Casino versus Balaclava, 2 songs that you couldn't. Or if there's ever a showing of how the band changed, this XI is it. Okay, well let's start. Mark, go on. Give me Tranquility. Oh, man.
I'm just going to be repeating myself all the time with this. I think, well, this definitely does carry on the concept or start the concept, let's say. I didn't like this. I'll be honest, this was a song I did not like on the album when I first listened to it. And I started liking this more when the video came out. And I got obsessed with it. And I obsessed with everything around Tranquility, the whole look of it, the 70s style, Alex's strange look and strange suits and strange little moped that he drives around on. And again, I think with every single song on that album, it's hidden depth. There's so much to explore in it. There's so much that hits you. I just think it's again another fantastic song, and it's just really strong opening to this album.
I was in the same place as you, by the way. This was one of the songs I couldn't get into on the album at first, which is funny, and I think I know why. Perhaps we both couldn't get into it. For me, it was a little bit too Bowie. And I found it jarring at first that it was a little bit too Bowie, and I thought I don't like to think that Alex sounds like someone else. You know what I mean? He's Alex, so it felt a little bit forced, which is the same thought that I had, interestingly, with the second song on the car as well. Felt a bit Bowie to me. The funky one.
Not quite worth.
Not quite, I think whatever it's called. That was the same thing for me, jarring. So interesting, similar ideas there. Okay, so there is a chance for Balaclava in this then. So go on, Justin, hit us.
Okay, so I put this is the song in the album where they're starting to leave the old style behind, but doing it in a much more complex way. It feels like a nod to the old stuff, which they recognize is important, especially to the listeners who are coming into this, wondering where they're going to be moving forward, but also that it's important to move forward in a new kind of way. It's a much more complex arrangement, which again, I think highlights Nick as a new member of the band. And this is the kind of first taste of that darkness that we're going to get later, that dark breakdown, the heaviness, which I always theorize, especially after listening to y'all's breakdown of the lyrics, might have been this kind of constant build to imitate kind of like sex or an orgasm in the way it kind of like breaks down. I don't know, maybe. So I always thought it was a kind of interesting correlation with the lyrics and the theme of the song, and then introducing us to that like really dark element and showing like what the band could do with that.
So good job you were on the episode when we did that, because Nick's so sex starved at this point that if you talked about orgasms, you might have to go off camera. But no, so I okay. You know what? Because and people are gonna fucking go mad about this XI. I think Nick might go bad. And this might be the end of the podcast when he sees this. But I'm gonna go because I think even though Tranquility is both great Nick songs, by the way, as well, both great Nick bass lines for these to compete. Because of the teething problems, and I still think his voice is a bit too Bowie in it, a little bit. I'll say that in like a hushed voice in a dark corridor so no one can get mad at me. But he is a little bit maybe too Bowie, and he isn't like that on the rest of the album, really. He's Alex on the rest of the album. He's Alex Land voice. And because Balaclava has one of my favorite metaphors of it being about a bit of a guy that's, you know, the girl cheating or whatever, but it's actually on the surface of it about some people robbing houses with balaclavas on, a very cool double meaning. I'm gonna go for Balaclava in this instance. Yeah, just because of that, because you actually, Matt, in your argument taught me out of Tranquility because you reminded me of why. Because if you said to me put on a song from Tranquility Base Hotel Casino now, it would be low down on the list for me. And that's no like disparaging on it. I would just be kind of like, okay, I'd rather listen to the whole of maybe the B side before I'd get to the A side. And then I'd probably rather listen to Start Treatment. And so it would be low down on the list. But as ever, that doesn't mean much for this band. You know, low down on the list is still I love it usually. So
and I think, Dan, sorry to interrupt you with that, is I would rather watch the video than listen to the song. So I think that probably does feed into that.
It is a cool video, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know what used to annoy me as well? At the time I worked in an office, and there was a guy that I hate. Oh, you won't be listening to this. Called Mark, and he used to answer the phone like, "Hi, Mark speaking," and then the song came out, and then I just think of him every time I heard the song, and that wound me up. But yeah, personal bias is there. But no, so Balaclava wins that. Wow, that's going to piss people off. Or maybe not, because people hate the new stuff. The people that hate the new stuff will love me. I'll be taken back into the fold.
There you go.
I'll be a hero. But okay, so that means that we've got Golden Trunks versus Fluorescent Adolescent. I mean, do you want to bother them up?
Sit this out? No.
Yeah. Well, at least I get one. I don't have to work so hard for
it. Donald, it may mock Donald Trump, but I don't know if that's enough to. Unless maybe your politics, Justin. Maybe I'm offending. Thank God for that. But no, okay. Well, do you want to argue it, or should we just give it to Fluorescent Adolescent? Because I think
you've got to give it to Fluorescent.
Yeah.
You probably prepared an argument though, Justin. So do you want to read it or?
Well, I mean, I would just they're still young, but they're able to write a pop song that becomes iconic about a middle-aged woman losing her spark. That's able, to me, when I was listening to it, was very young and still resonated with me. I was unable to resonate with that perspective that I wasn't experiencing, and to have that as this iconic pop song is incredible. I think it's just
And when I saw, I always have a special place because when I saw them live in 2009 at Leeds Festival, and they did one of my favorite Dion songs in the middle of it, and it was one of the most romantic things I've ever heard, and one of the best moments of my life probably. I don't think it should matter that I was on MDMA at the time, but it's worth bringing up. So that is that. We have gone. There's no contest really. I actually thought it was going to be Tranquility versus Fluorescent, which would have been. I think Fluorescent probably still would have come out with. If Balaclava can beat Tranquility, then Fluorescent Adolescent certainly can. So we've got what is winning? So we've gone Star Treatment to Teddy Picker to American Sports to Balaclava to Fluorescent Adolescent. So Very Worst Nightmare surprisingly is winning. But I will say this: the B side of Tranquility is amazing, but then so is the B side of Very Worst Nightmare. So, but you will lose towards the end, I fear, on a couple of tracks. But we have got how many tracks more are we dealing with here from the two albums? 7.
So that was 5.
No, I mean we've got one extra song for this, which is 505, have we? Oh, we're gonna to let people know we decided before the show that we're gonna throw Anyways in to the mix here, as it's the only B-side of the era. Not as simple as you might think, that pairing of 505 and Anyways. People might think, well, that'll annoy people as well, though. I've been fair so far, I think. So the next one would be Only Ones Who Know versus. I should probably get the track listing up here because I've been thrown off by me getting Golden Trunks wrong. But it is. She Looks Like Fun next. Is it? 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Ooh, versus Only Ones Who Know. Okay, Matt, do you want to give me some 4 out of 5?
That's tricky, isn't it? That one. 4 out of 5. Again, what surprised me about that song when it first came out, well, certainly people I knew who don't like Arctic Monkeys love that song. But very Bowie again. But I don't think it feels forced. I think it sounds nothing like Arctic Monkeys, but it sounds just like them, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yes, I know what you mean.
It's got the catchiness. It's got Alex's what do you call it? Turner of phrase.
Yeah, I do.
I like that thing.
Trademark that. That's mine.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I'll be using that a lot recently in the next eras.
And I think it was just a great way to introduce this new sound. I remember the teaser trailer coming out for this. I think it was like a 50-second clip with the turning of the, the toy casino hotel thing.
Yeah.
And there was a few live clips that came out as well, if you can remember, on very shoddy mobile phone clips. And it was that the down, and I thought that's something I've heard. But when I must have been about 5-year-old. That kind of 70s weird sound I didn't even think still existed.
Yeah.
Synthesizer sound.
That was when you started to think, why aren't they releasing singles from this? This is going to be different. Absolutely.
Song.
And as well, I mean, I remember they did a Jimmy Fallon. Who's the better one, the cooler one? younger one. I can't remember. But is it Jimmy Fallon? No, Jimmy Kimmel. Which one is it?
Kimmel, I think.
Kimmel. Who was on Saturday Night Live? Is it Kimmel or is it Fallon? Oh, probably both were, weren't they? It probably doesn't help, does it? Anyway, the guy that likes to, he's younger and cooler anyway and stuff. But I think it's Kimmel. I think it's Kimmel. But it could be Fallon. They did a performance on that the night before Tranquility came out, and they did 4 out of 5 on it. And I still say it's the best live version of 4 out of 5 I've ever seen. And you can't get it on YouTube, but you can find it on Facebook. If you go on Facebook videos and search it, or you go on Jimmy Kimmel or Fallon's page on Facebook, then if you just search it, it comes up on Facebook to watch, but it's not on YouTube. And it's my favorite performance of it live ever. And at the end, Alex actually stands up from the piano when it ends and gets this like a standing ovation from the crowd. So yeah, it definitely connects with people that aren't even fans. You're right. But shall we see what is a beautiful tune for only ones who know?
Yeah, I think this one is one of the first kind of like timeless Arctic Monkey songs. It's definitely our first kind of look at emotional Alex and like the real kind of emotional Alex. And honestly, I think that this song could have fit on his solo EP, something he did alone, which in some kind of way he did, or even I think it could be rearranged and fit perfectly well on the car now, honestly, in a certain way. I definitely think it could be performed now with their new style, and it would kind of fit right in. And I just think this is kind of one of the most overlooked and underappreciated songs because of all of the other music surrounding it. You have the whole first album, and then most of this album, even if it's emotional, it's not in this kind of more sweet, sensitive way. Sometimes it's more biting or tragic or something like that. And I think that this is kind of like the first glimpse of Alex kind of being kind of exposed a little bit, which kind of holds a special place for me, knowing what's going to be coming later and stuff. So yeah, I think it's just a very beautiful, beautiful song.
It is a beautiful song, and I do love this song. And it was always one of the ones that I connected with a lot on this album. By the way, where do you get? Because me and Nick had a disagreement on this, and I said that I felt it was kind of a doomed relationship, is what he's talking about. They love each other, but it's doomed. It's tragic, Romeo and Juliet. And Nick said he thought it was a happy relationship, but it was a love story. And I
agree on the doomed.
Thank you. Where do you stand, Matt?
I think more towards Nick with that, but I might have to listen again before I say that.
I think it was the music that led me there, and the Romeo and Juliet reference, right? Like if you're going to reference lovers and say Romeo and Juliet, then nobody thinks happy ending, do they? So, I mean, I guess we all bring to it what we bring to it, don't we? Maybe we're just cynical, Justin. Although Nick's probably one of the most cynical people I've ever met, so that doesn't make sense. In fact, he is. He's the only person more cynical than me that I've ever met. So I know you're listening, but yeah, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm sorry, I have to go Tranquility though, because it's so well put together and it's so intricate and layered. And when we cover it, there's so much musically to talk about before we even get into the madness of the idea. It's very Alex in the sense that, okay, you got this weird sci-fi concept of Tranquility, and it's weird. And even in that, he throws like moon side boob, a bit of jokes in there. But then the idea of writing a song that's a review of that hotel, it is the only. Yeah. It's only Alex could ever come up with that. Nobody else, no other songwriter ever would think, now I'm going to write a song that's a review of that album, and it's going to have funny things in it, like we did put a taqueria on the roof, like a very like sort of LA joke, I would imagine, and stuff like that. So yeah, I am going to give it to Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. Because, sorry, fucking hell, 4 out of 5. Yeah, 4 out of 5 for me, because that is that for me. I know Tranquility Base is the title track, but I think in my head, I kind of consider 4 out of 5 to be the title track. I consider that to be the song that makes the album. So yeah, interesting that. Okay, well, that's the end of part 1 of our Christmas special, but come back on Christmas Eve to listen to part 2, where we'll be finishing our list. We've got a few other questions to do. We're going to do our B-side albums that we've created, and a couple of more extra questions, but come back on Christmas Eve to hear that.
Don't Believe the Hype is hosted and produced weekly by Nick Lee and Dan Holt. Music used in the titles is royalty-free music courtesy of Les FM. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast player of choice to be notified every Wednesday when a new episode is released. And if you want to help us out further, be sure to like and review to help make us more visible to like-minded souls. We will see you next week with more of the same.